I love to help people who are struggling with anxiety. It just touches my heart because I've dealt with it myself for so many years. And I want to talk a little bit more about what actually is anxiety. And so often it's labeled as a disorder, but that doesn't really tell us very much. So anxiousness, which is the sensations in the body. Why do we get these sensations? What is it about? Where we normally go to is just to fix it. But I want to offer in this video to look at it from a more open observer perspective. That the sensations in our body are there for a reason. Some might think of it as their cues. Maybe they're getting our attention. Maybe it's telling us it wants to avoid something. Maybe it's afraid something's going to happen, whether we know what that is or not. Maybe it's a part of us, like a little younger version of ourselves, that doesn't feel safe. Either way, right? If we're anxious, we don't feel safe. And what's also interesting is we don't always know specifically what we're anxious about. We might. But many of us, including myself, out of the blue, I can just get a sensation of like a tightness in my chest. And usually what goes along with that is a little bit of shortness of breath or something. And in the past, I would ignore because we're so programmed to be in our head. So we just keep going. Well, for many of us, it gets louder, 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 louder. And again, getting our attention. I equate it to like a little kid tugging on the parent's leg. Like, hello, I'm here. Because when we go throughout our day, depending on what we're doing, we might be at work, we might be parenting, we might be doing all kinds of things, that which part of us is online that's trying to focus and get something done. Then there's another part that's like, whoa, wait a minute. It's having some feelings or some impressions about something. And it could be about the thing we're doing right in the moment, but maybe not. And what do? We're ignoring. I got to get this stuff done. I don't have time to stop. You know, when I'm working with so many of my clients, I both have a therapy practice and I'm also doing some coaching with people. And those are very different nuances, but drawing from similar principles about this, that if we're ignoring the feelings, where are they supposed to go, right? And so over time, and I just see this getting bigger, 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 more intense as we get older, because they're not meant to be ignored. We don't know otherwise, but it's similar to parenting a small child. What are they going to do if we keep ignoring them? Often they get louder, louder, louder. And then if we don't attend to it, then maybe they're going to convert into another presentation. Because we are made for survival, but we're also made, I believe, to thrive. So if we're just trying to cope and manage anxiety, we're in survival. We're not in thriving and joy and passion. And I got to a point in my life where I'm like, I no longer want to have anxiety running my life, because then I'm avoiding certain things, or the things I'm actually doing, I'm not doing them very well. Whether it's communication, relationship navigating, it's, performance at work. And self-doubt feeds right into all of it, because without self-doubt, we probably wouldn't have a lot of anxiety. And anxiety doesn't have to be considered bad, wrong, or unhealthy. If it is just seen as an indicator that something needs attention, and with tools that work for you, and there's so many options, I teach some, but it's figuring out, and this is what I love to do with people, is help you build a toolkit. And it's not going to include avoidance. It's not going to include just coping. It will serve as that. But when you shift the perspective to being there for it, because it is part of you, but it isn't you. That's another thing I wanted to share is I've had so many people over the years say, well, I'm just an anxious person. That is just part of my personality. And I would lovingly say, you may believe that, but it doesn't have to be that way. But if we believe that, why would we even consider, right, that it's possible that there's another experience there for us beyond anxiety? So we will stop at what we believe. But we don't get from point A of, no, there's no way, this is just who I am, to point B of, okay, this is not me and I'm free of anxiety. There's the process in between. It doesn't have to take a long time. It's really amazing how I've just seen such leaps and bounds for people. I've seen people go from one session to another with their awarenesses on it's not all that they are, and they can be there for it and go into the process without having to relive past events. We do not also need to go into all of the traumas to bring in shifts that are so expansive that you realize all that you truly are, which is not to just struggle, suffer, and survive until you physically die. So if this calls to you and you just know you want so much more for your life experience, and you've tried lots of things, even if you haven't tried lots of things, but often this will speak more to people who have tried the things and the things aren't working, or they were working and they're not anymore. And I believe we have a soul, and it's calling us to more. When you find that something pops into your awareness, it's like you consider it's meant for you. Whether some of these ideas are new or you've heard some of these before, if it's calling to you, don't ignore that. Whatever that means. You can follow my content. There are other people talking about some of these kinds of things, but I'm me, and so I'm not trying to be like anyone else. I'm just showing up authentically, and I'm going to keep sharing what I've learned for myself, what I apply with my clients, and what brings in the most massive expedited shifts rather than years of talking about things and revisiting stories that don't serve us anymore. So I invite you to subscribe, like, and follow, and I'll be making more content. Feel free to reach out with any questions. Thanks so much.